We are going to calculate volume if we have regular shaped solids. The volume of an object we can calculate it by multiplying by its length times width times thickness, and that's when you multiply you get the volume. And all three measurements must be in the same units. For example, if an object measures 3 centimeter by 2 centimeter by 1 centimeter, the volume is 6 centimeter cube. So that's cubic volume. Volumes of solids, liquids and gases. The liter is a base unit of volume in metric system. 1 liter is defined as the volume occupied by a cube that is 10 centimeter each side. So when you see 10 centimeter of cubes on each side, and when you take 1 centimeter little cube, the actual size is 1 centimeter cube, and the whole thing is defined as a 1 liter. 1 liter is equal to 1000 cubic centimeter. For example, 10 centimeter times 10 centimeter times 10 centimeter, 1000 centimeter cube. And we know 1 liter is 1000 centimeter cube, and 1 liter equals 1000 milliliter. So therefore 1 centimeter cube equals 1 milliliter. Let's take an example. An automobile engine displaces a volume of 498 centimeter cube in each cylinder. What is the displacement of a cylinder in a cubic inches? Now first we want inches cube, and we have centimeter cube, 498 centimeter cube. We know this conversion, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeter, and that we need to use it 3 times. We have centimeter, and when we convert from 1 inches to 1 centimeter, so in here 1 centimeter cube is 1 centimeter is converted to 1 inch. So the same factor we are going to use it 3 times in order to convert from centimeter cube to inches cube, and that way we can set up. If a solid has an irregular shape, its volume cannot be determined by measuring its dimension. You can determine its volume indirectly by measuring the volume of water it displaces. This technique is called volume displacement. Volume by displacement can be used to determine the volume of a gas. Here you can see you want to measure the volume of an irregular shape piece of jade and partially fill volumetric flask with water and measure the volume of water. So for example, this is 50 milliliter water in this graduated cylinder, and when we add jade and measure the difference in the volume, when we add jade, the water rises up to 60.5, from 50 milliliter to 60.5 milliliter. So the difference is 10.5 milliliter. That's the volume of jade. So that's why we measure the volume of irregular shaped solids. If you want to measure the volume of gas given off in a chemical reaction, the gas produced displaces the water in the flask into the beaker. So when you see in this reaction, gas produced displaces this water into this flask, and whatever the volume displaced, that's the amount of volume it's produced. So that way you can measure volume of gas. Now let's take a look of density concept. The density of an object is a measure of its concentration of mass. Density is also defined mass of an object divided by volume of an object. So density is mass divided by volume. Density is also expressed in different units. It's grams per milliliter for most of the liquids, grams per cubic centimeter for solids, and gram per liter for gaseous compounds. Here are different densities of common substances. You can see solids, ice, rubber, magnesium, aluminum, liquids, ethyl ether, ethyl alcohol, water, chloroform, mercury, gases, hydrogen, helium, ammonia, and you can see the solids are dense, and then liquids, and then gases generally. So how do we estimate density? We can estimate density of a substance by comparing with another object. A solid object will float on the top of the liquid with a higher density. Let's say we have object S1, S2 and S3, and we have liquid L1, water, and L2. And when we drop it, S1 density is heavier than L1 liquid but lighter than water, so it floats on the top of water. And the same thing, you can see S2 object, which is heavier than L1 and water but lighter than L2, so it floats on L2 liquid. So that way we can estimate it. Now, what is the density of a platinum nugget that has mass of 224.50 grams and a volume of 10 centimeter cube? Remember, density is mass divided by volume. We have mass is given 224.50 grams and volume is 10 centimeter cube. When you divide, you get 22.5 gram per centimeter cube. That's pretty straightforward calculation. We can also use the density as a unit factor between mass and volume. For example, an automobile battery contains 12,075 milliliter of acid, and if the density of battery acid is 1.84 gram per milliliter, how many grams of acids are in automobile battery? We have milliliter and we have a density, so when we multiply volume and density, you get grams. In next lecture, we'll talk about temperature.